Hey, everybody out there in the fountain pen world. This is Brian and Rachel Goulet of the Goulet Pen Company and InkNouveau.com. Oh, yeah, and Ellie, our 3-month-old daughter.
Almost 4.
As well as Brian Gray of the Edison Pen Company joining us via phone.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
We are here. We have been on a hiatus for the last month or so. And we're breaking our hiatus because we want to release the hot new Edison Nouveau Encore pens. I have been hyping these things up for the last week, just having a blast doing photography and posting all kinds of pictures and stuff like that on the blog. I really put a lot of time and effort into it, as you guys can probably tell, not only into the photography, but in the whole planning of the release and the teasing, releasing little bits at a time into a big build-up that leads to tonight. It's been a real blast. It's kind of been a culmination of my photography as well as my marketing skills, and I just really was trying to have fun and lead up to give you guys something really entertaining to lead up to this release. So that said, we won't reveal the pen right off the bat, but we'll get to it not too long.
I hopefully give some folks an opportunity to get in the chat. Looks like a couple more folks are joining. Like I said, if it's slow to load, just be patient. Maybe try refreshing. Eventually, you'll be able to get in. It took me a while.
I've got the same issue. I refreshed, and my chat is taking a little bit longer to load up. So I think that's what when it came up earlier, it just took a while to do the load complete for some reason. So, And by the way, if anyone has comments about my audio levels, let me know if I'm being heard good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which if you can't hear Brian too well or you hear him too much, it's because I have the phone too close to the microphone. It's a really advanced setup that we have here with a microphone and literally just a phone next to it. Because anything more than that, I mean, we've tried like streaming video and stuff like that. Justin TV doesn't really have a great way to duo stream videos, and plus I'm not sure that our bandwidth would be able to handle that. So
I was thinking about this. You realize that the fountain pen geeks have kind of raised the bar when it comes to video streams. What, are you guys going to be able to compete with that, or what's going on here?
No, we're not going to compete.
I'm just teasing. Those broadcasts are fun anyways.
Well,
No,
it's
it's great.
I've been tuning into their broadcasts, but for whatever reason, Ustream just doesn't like our internet connection. Oh, that's Ellie.
There you go.
I have trouble streaming their broadcasts. It either loads in completely or cuts in and out. So I don't. Ustream just doesn't like us very much.
Yeah, even back when we were broadcasting on Ustream, it was like every broadcast we'd have at least a dozen people dropping out because of technical issues. So
I've never had too many issues with streaming the broadcast, but sometimes their software is spotty here and there.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, it's a free service, so you can't really complain too much. But
yep.
So
well, as it stands right now, we've had a hiatus for a while. This may be our last one
for another while.
Indefinitely.
We actually just found out tonight. We put an offer on a house to move, and it was accepted. So we are going to be. We just moved our business 3 weeks ago.
For the second time.
For the second time in 6 months, and we had Ellie in between there. But then we've basically been looking for a long time. We've been in this house for 4 years, and it's pretty small. We have 2 kids now, and we're kind of just busting at the seams in this place. So we really wanted to kind of get a place that we could settle down for the next 20 years or so. And we found that house, our little perfect house, over the weekend, and things moved along pretty quickly, and now we are going to be moving in the end of May, beginning of June. So as busy as we have been, it is not going to get any better. In fact, it will get worse. So,
but then it'll get better again.
Yeah. So anyway, we're probably going to have to go on
an indefinite hiatus.
An indefinite. Not saying we'll never do Right Time again, but it's going to be probably at least 3 months before we can even think about it again.
No, we may be able to jump on during the day and do more, like not so much scheduled, give up our whole evening type of broadcast, but more just like, hey, we're here. Do you guys want to chat? Let's answer your questions. Just kind of spontaneous
we may.
broadcast.
I mean, I got the whole idea of doing a broadcast like this from Gary Vaynerchuk, which any of you know Gary Vaynerchuk and Wine Library at all, he would do it in a different way. He would do it where, he's got like 900,000 Twitter followers, but he would basically jump on whenever he had time and say, hey, I got 45 minutes. What do you guys want to talk about? And he would stream live. Everybody would jump in the chat who was there to talk, and he would just rapid fire answer as many questions as he could. Now, we had like 10 Twitter followers when we first started our broadcast. So that method wasn't really going to work for us. So we said, hey, we're going to schedule a broadcast, do it at a regular time. Everybody's going to know to show up. It's going to be more TV show style. So that worked fine, but we've done something like 70 broadcasts at this point. And, it worked okay when we just had Joseph, because we would, he's 2 years old and we put him down for bed at, 7:30 or 8, whatever. And he's down for the night and it's fine. As soon as we had Ellie, it was just like, it made things infinitely harder for us. Anybody who has multiple kids knows that when you have the second kid, it's not twice as much work, it's 4 times as much work. That's definitely the case. So we've found it really hard. Yes, it's all her fault. We found it really hard just to make the time personally to be able to do the broadcasts at all.
Here come people at the chat.
Oh, here's the chat. Yeah. So just to give you an idea of what we've went through tonight just to make it to this broadcast, we wake up around 7 o'clock and we are like gunning to get out the door because we want to get to work by 8 because we got to get all the kids ready. We commute with our 2 kids to work. So if you know what having 2 kids, in diapers is like driving anywhere, imagine doing that every day driving to work. So we get the kids ready and everything. We go to work. We work all day until probably about 6 or 6:30. Then we go and have dinner, and then we had to run to pick up some supplies that we need for work tomorrow. And then we got home at like 8:15. Got Joseph to bed, Rachel started feeding Ellie, and then we got the news about the house, and then we called Brian Gray at 8:45, and here we are, right into the broadcast. So we've been literally going nonstop for 13 straight hours today, like 14 straight hours today. So you can understand
how far we live from the shop. We're
about 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 5-6 miles.
10 minutes. It's not too bad. The commute's not bad. We have
our new house would be.
We have one stoplight from here to our shop. What?
Our new house would be the same. It's just.
Yeah. So it's not the commute that's bad. It's just, getting out the door and getting the kids anywhere. It takes 15 minutes from the time you try to leave the door just to get the car started, But we've got a lot of energy and we do put in a lot of work. But, after 14 straight hours, you get pretty exhausted. So we'll do the broadcast here, and then I'll spend the rest of the night until probably 1 o'clock in the morning editing the video and getting it posted on YouTube and all that stuff. So it just makes for an exhausting day. And it takes us, and then we wake up and do it right again tomorrow. So we really don't get a break for like 2 straight days. So anyway, we're not really saying this to just complain or anything. We do enjoy Right Time, which is why we've tried to keep it going as long as we can, but it's at this point right now, it's become so personally draining that it's really hard for us to get excited about it anymore.
Yeah, we'll revisit in the future. We just need to continue our break for a while. But we really wanted to do tonight because we wanted to introduce our pen, and I think we have got like 80 some people watching now, and we've got a couple more folks trickling into the chat. I know there have been some technical problems. Just bear with it. Yours still isn't even loaded.
Yeah, you're right. My chat hasn't loaded.
My chat still hasn't loaded either, so I'm assuming there's a lot of people that maybe aren't getting on quite yet.
Yeah,
we're sorry about that.
If you have a link to give out, maybe just give it verbally if that's feasible. I don't know how long a link would be, but...
A link for...
Like anything that we're talking about?
For the unveiling.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
well, let's go ahead and show them live before I make it... live on the video before I make them live on the website.
Now, I've technically shown every aspect of this pen in parts. I was kind of hoping that somebody might Photoshop together through all the different pictures that I had done and try and piece together the pen.
Yeah,
but
I didn't see anybody. Expected fountain pen geeks to do so.
Yeah, I didn't see anybody doing that though.
I mean, they spray paint Ahab, so I figured.
Yeah, they do. Let's see here. Where are the pens? Right here. Gosh, I hope I brought them home. Yeah, they're here. Okay. So, officially, without further ado, I'm going to release them one at a time. Oh, here Joseph's awake. And we moved Joseph out of his crib into a big boy bed this weekend. So that was even more excitement. Oh, and Ellie's baptism this weekend, too. So we've really been on a roll.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
Hiring another employee.
Yep. We're rocking and rolling. So anyway, here we go. Now keep in mind the video is not going to show these pens anywhere near what they look like in real life, but at least you'll get a matter of perspective and you'll get to see the pen as a whole instead of just in tiny little pieces like I've been showing. So here, without further ado, is the Edison Nouveau Encore. And this particular color is blue agate.
Which we chose the name because it looks, if you just
it
Google
looks
search
very
for,
much like the stone.
Yeah, especially sliced up.
And, you know, you can kind of see in the video the detail, but the intensity and the crispness of the swirls in this pen just blow my freaking mind. This is a...
Now, Brian Gray, correct us if you have not used this material before, correct?
No, this is brand new.
Yeah, this is something that you recently discovered yourself. And you had, you'd kind of, I mean, we were at the point where we were already looking at materials for this pen. And you were like, hey guys, I just came across this material. What do you think? And we were like, oh my gosh, this is mind blowing. Yeah. So we jumped all over, especially me. I'm a sucker for blue anyway. I'm even wearing blue tonight. But just It's not a pearlescent swirl like we've used in pens before, and like you have in a lot of your Edisons. But this is
it's a lot more obvious.
Yeah, you do have like a gray kind of slate swirl, right? Like actually in one of my videos that I did with all your pens, I think you had a Herald that was in that gray slate that was very similar to this.
Correct.
So you have used this
same composition, but it was a gray color rather than blue color.
Right.
So like gray on cream rather than blue on cream.
Yeah. So the pen posts very well. I know a lot of people were asking about, you know, the size of this pen and how it compares to other pens.
Oh, I have my Mina in my purse.
Oh, okay.
If you want to grab that too, especially because it also uses a number 5 nib, just as a reference point.
The pen that I think it compares very closely to in size is the now he's all excited. Is the Pelikan M200.
That's what I was going to say.
Very, very similar in size.
Yeah.
It's a little bit longer than the M200. The body of the Encore is just a tad smaller than the body of the M200, but the cap is a little bit longer.
That's ironic because I swear I was about to say M200 as soon as you did. I mean, that's also a good size reference because a lot of people are familiar with, you know, the size scales of Pelikans.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, you know, here it is posted, an M200 next to the Encore. Personally, I like that the Encore is a little bit longer than the M200 because to me, the M200 is just a little too short. Even when it's posted, it's okay. You know, I've got really big hands. I hold my fingers really pretty straight when I write. You know, I don't curl up like some people. I hold it out really far, and I really, you know, hold it at a low angle. So I tend to like longer pens myself. But, you know, what we were shooting for with this pen was something much smaller than what you typically might associate with Edison pens.
Well, what we originally, and gosh, this whole thing started at least 6 months ago. The premiere was so awesome and has been so well received. It's probably one of our best-selling pens. We wanted to emulate a lot of the style of it, but to do something that was flatter. Mm-hmm. So we took a lot of the same profile shape, basically kind of, you know, I'm not going to say chopped off the ends.
Here it is next to a premiere.
Yeah.
So we
Made
didn't...
him not taper.
Yeah, we honestly weren't trying to deviate like on the complete opposite end of the spectrum from the premiere because the feedback that we had gotten about the premiere was that it was a very comfortable, well-balanced pen for both men and women with hands of all sizes. And, you know, that everybody liked the taper of the cap, and, you know, there were a lot of features on the premiere. Hey. You stealing the...
By the way, my chat just came up, so it took me about 10 minutes. So
yeah,
I'm not sure if people that are out there, if they're having chat problems, just stay in there and hang in there. And eventually, like, don't refresh over and over and over. Just hang with it until it pops up.
Yeah. Folks are trickling in. It's I'm sorry again for the frustration. I know it's 35 minutes. Wow.
Wow, geez. Yeah, mine's been
Sorry
loading
about
for 20
that.
minutes now, and it's still... Yeah, we're sorry, but we're going to keep rolling along.
More folks trickling in. Got 100 people watching now. So.
Yeah. So it's
Ellie's excited.
I'm getting so distracted by my daughter here.
Well,
The size of the body is not drastically different. It is noticeably smaller than the Premier. So
remember that there is a big difference in the nib sizes too.
there
yes.
is, yeah. That's one thing I tried to cover really well in the post. Was that, and they write.
I'm guessing that the body of the Encore is significantly thinner, correct?
It is a bit. It's not as drastic as you might think, though.
Yeah.
Not than the Premier. It's definitely noticeably thinner than the Hudson and the Collier.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So there's the two nib sizes. You got a number 6 on the Premier, which is used on most of the Edison pens, except for the Mina. And is it the Pearlette that
Correct.
uses a number 5? Okay, so the Mina and the Pearlette use the number 5, if you're familiar with that at all. I will say, and Brian, maybe you can tell me what you think about this, but to me, I think that the number 5 nibs write a little bit wetter than the number 6.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It depends, though. You know, I think that sometimes the number 6s just need like a little bit of a push or get the tines to spread a little bit more.
Okay.
I think that the number 5s write a touch more the way that I want them to out of the box. And the number 6s sometimes are on the dry side. But I will tell you this from a manufacturer standpoint, I'd rather have a nib that writes a little bit on the dry side than too wet, because it's a lot easier to make a nib wet than what it is to make it drier.
Right.
That's, you know, it's easy for people that have very, very, very little nib skills to make a nib a little wetter just by spreading the tines. But if you go too far, then it's more difficult to bring that flow back. So
Yeah.
I'm happy with both of them and how they perform. But the
Yeah.
number 5 might be a touch wetter than the other. They do use 2 different feeds, so that could be part of the reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, real quick, I mean, obviously, a lot of people have been following the blog, but just highlight the new features of the
I'm
pen.
gonna highlight all of the. I'm gonna highlight all the subtleties of the pen that we definitely wanted to incorporate in the design, and then we'll highlight the new stuff that that Brian was nice enough to let us use on our pen to introduce into his Edison line. So, you know, like we said, it's not drastically different than the Premier. It is smaller. You know, the flat top is definitely it. The grip section is a little different. This is the same grip section that was on the Herald, I believe.
Oh, no, well, the Herald is a number 6 section. So, now the shape
I mean, I'm talking about the
similar
shape,
as
yeah.
far as, like, having a flare towards the end.
Yeah, it's not like the Premier. The Premier, for anyone who's familiar, has... At least they're talkative. The Premier is just a straight concave.
Correct.
You know,
it's an even concave
yeah.
curve across
So,
the section.
so the deepest point of the dip is right in the middle of that grip section.
Yeah. And then the Encore is essentially 2 straight tapers, with one being a little bit more, you know, severe than the other. So there's really no curve to that. Those are 2 straight lines, but of course when it gets sanded, that gets, you know, when you sand 2 perfectly straight lines, they tend to even out a little bit and look more curved.
Right.
Essentially, it's just 2 tapers that kind of meet 3/4 of the way past, or 3/4 of the distance.
And in my opinion, it's a very comfortable grip. The Premier grip, you know, a lot of people really loved it, and I'm still a big fan of it. But I actually really like this grip too. For anybody that likes to hold their pen closer to the nib, this is going to be a little friendlier grip for you, because it naturally kind of wants to put your hand closer to that nib. And we also went with basically as shallow and unobtrusive threads, as seamless threads onto the body as we could, because for individuals who have larger hands and maybe want to hold the pen a little further back and actually hold on the threads, I know that can be a pet peeve for some people. I know Pelican gets a lot of flack sometimes for the way that their threads protrude out and how it can wear on your finger after a while. I don't think we're going to have that problem with this pen, because the threads are rather unobtrusive.
Yeah, I made sure that the diameter of the section came up to about as proud or as thick as it could possibly get without interrupting with those threads. It actually took about 3 or 4 tries to make sure that I had it right on to a point of where it was right where I wanted, but just, not enough to where it literally interfere and the cap wouldn't even go on.
And for me, the 4-fingered holder, it's, I'm sorry, I haven't changed yet. It's just how I hold my pens. It's comfortable for me, too.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan as well.
Yeah. I was going to say something else along those lines, but I lost my train of thought with Ellie cooing like crazy over here. Yes, so, okay, that's the grip of the pen. Another thing about the size of the pen, okay, a lot of people have asked, is this something that you can hold uncapped for people who don't like to cap their pens? I know when you have smaller pens, they tend to get kind of questionable as to how comfortable they are to hold unposted. I will say it's a little thin, so but the cap is not incredibly heavy. So in terms of the balance, it really doesn't throw off one way or another whether it's capped or uncapped. At least that's what I find.
I'm 5'11", and I've got normal sized hands for a guy of that size. And my personal version of this, I don't post it when I write with it. I generally don't post anyways. And this doesn't bother me a bit to write unposted in spite of the smaller size.
Yeah. One of the pens that comes to mind with me of ones that I have to post is like a Kaweco Classic Sport.
Sure.
But the Kaweco Classic Sport is just a hair over 3 inches long. Unposted, but this one is over 4.5 inches long unposted, so it's really not in the same league. It's in terms of the length of the pen. It still holds a full size standard international converter in here. You can convert it to eyedropper. I did that with my other purple one, which I'll show in a minute. It's comfortable enough to use whether you want to post it or not. Me personally, I've been posting them lately. Just like, I don't know, I used to never post my pens, like never. And then all of a sudden, like a switch flipped in my brain, and it just felt unnatural to me, and I've been posting just about everything ever since. It's really weird. I can't explain it, but it just happened. So anyway, as far as the rest of the design, we've also got, I was trying to show these in some of the pictures. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the video. There is a very subtle engraving that says Edison Nouveau Encore. This particular one says AP. That stands for artist proof. They're not going to say artist proof on the versions for sale. This is just, it's more or less a prototype that Brian made for me. So, and then on the other end of the body, we've got a slight taper. It's not a straight drop off here. We still wanted to emulate a little bit of that taper. It also helped to allow it to post easier. So the posting on this thing is really nice. It's goes on firmly,
nice and
holds
secure.
on there. You're not gonna have to worry about, you can push it with just a little bit of pressure, and your cap will be on there securely. Now we did want, on the cap, we did a nice taper. We wanted a flat top, but we wanted it also to taper into the body of the pen. So we didn't want a real harsh drop off here. Particularly because if you're going to be putting this thing in your shirt pocket a lot, you didn't want the cap of the pen to snag on your shirt when you go to put it on. You just want the clip to be able to do it.
And it's not as dramatic at resting against your hand.
Exactly.
Oh,
So
okay.
Brian did a great job with that. I know what I was going to say. When we were talking about the threads and stuff and talking about, the taper on the cap, some people were asking, how is it going to be too thin? Like the cap, the end of the cap there, is it going to be too thin and be, breakable or anything like that? But what I don't think most people realize is that, Brian, when you're making these pens, you're literally engineering these things to the thousandth of an inch, right?
Yeah. Sure.
So, and we've talked on the phone and stuff that you're working in these tolerances, and you have so much experience with different pens. You know what your tolerances are when it comes to making pretty much every component of these pens. And I know when we were talking to you about, hey, we want to do this, what about this, blah, blah, blah. And you were like, well, we can't do that because you can only go so thin here, and you can only go, so much there. And you were literally kind of like giving us a guideline of how thin and thick and whatever that we could go when designing these pens. So,
yep. At least where I feel comfortable.
Yeah. And if you feel comfortable, then we definitely do. Because you've made quite a few pens at this point. Hey, just out of curiosity, how many pens would you estimate that you've made?
Total?
Yeah, ever.
that's going to be really hard to count because, since the production business started, like about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I suppose, I know exactly how many invoices I've written over the years, and generally those are for 1 pen a piece.
Yeah.
But, I've got to put the count somewhere around 5,000, I would say.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, that's a few.
Yeah.
That's a few. I know there's, I think that you're at the point where you're not just some guy making pens anymore. You've got quite a bit of brand recognition out there with
Absolutely.
Edison. Enough where you're like getting nominated for awards and stuff in Pen World and then things like that. So, 5,000. Wow, that's a good amount. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's in that ballpark. But the funny thing is, I don't know that count is going to be accurate anymore because, I can always look back on the number of invoices I've written, and I know that. But, I'm shipping, lots of pens to my retailers now. So how do I keep track of that over time?
Well, I guess you just ask your retailers, and I don't know.
Well, I tell you, here's a good way to do it. I can tell you that I ordered 500 converters 3 months ago, and they're all gone. So I'm going to a faster rate at this point as far as production goes.
Well, I'm sure business has picked up.
Maybe my converters and my nib orders is a much better gauge than my invoices at this point.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
So that is the body design. The clip is unlike the Premiere. The Premiere, you'd never used that clip before, and that was a new clip that we chose just for the Premiere.
Yep.
This one was one
actually, if you remember correctly, this clip really was chosen specifically for this pen, but then the Pearlette, I got the idea for the Pearlette, and the Pearlette just simply materialized faster than what this pen did.
Right.
So this clip actually was intended for this pen, but the Pearlette ended up launching first.
Right.
Yeah, this pen,
it was
like
a good
we said,
clip for both.
This pen has been in the works since, originally we were like, well, maybe we'll get it out by Thanksgiving, and then it, because of the various ideas for the new things, it took longer, but...
Yeah, and
it's been in the works for a long time.
Well, the first thing I think that you were able to accomplish on this pen was the center band.
Yeah.
That you'd gotten pretty early on, because I think you had already more or less nailed down the center band before we even had this pen in the works,
but
right?
This is the first pen
Correct.
Yeah, we kind of said, hey, let's design another pen, and you were like, hey, I've got this center band, would you guys be interested in using it? And we were like, yeah, we'd love to have a center band on the pen.
Well, and honestly, we probably could have launched this pen back in January, but what were the two things that held us up? Because we decided to wait and do it right, and there were 2 items. Do you recall?
We did. Oh, yeah, I remember.
Well, we took a long time to decide materials.
The materials took a while. Actually, it was surprisingly challenging to pick what we felt were the right materials for this pen, not so much because of the design, but because of the garnishments on the pen. A lot of the materials that we thought looked really good made the pen look too busy. So one of the things that held us up a little bit was this engraving on the number 5 nib, which previously you had done the engraving on the number 6 nib before, which we actually kind of helped to introduce with the Premiere last year. And then, I think we had already kind of had this pen in the plans, but you had mentioned that you were looking into getting the number 5 nibs engraved. And we were like, oh, well, if you can get engraved nibs, there's no...
It was one, and not only that, but a feature that you'll probably get to in a second, which is that medallion up in the top. And it was just one of those deals where it's like we could have launched this in January with non-engraved nibs and without that neat little medallion, which I'm sure, there it is. But we figured if we're going to do it, let's do it right, and let's make sure that, we put what we really envisioned into it. So it ended up being maybe a couple, 2 or 3 more months to get everything finalized with that medallion and also getting the engraved nibs in.
Yep, and this video is awful. The quality of it is atrocious, but this medallion, it's an inlaid medallion. It does stand just ever so slightly proud of the surface of the cap. It's not completely flush. It's a little rounded as well. So, but it's very subtle. You're not going to snag your finger on it or anything like that. Yeah. It's very subtle. You can tell from my macro pictures how subtle it really is. But this is an EN in the top here that stands for Edison Nouveau. It is a celebration of our collaborative efforts. I'm trying to get it without glare. And it's kind of a
I have good pictures on
it's
the
a
blog.
dimpled or a hammered effect on the background of this medallion.
So waiting on that, waiting on the nibs. That's the delay for the pen. It gave us plenty of time to, figure out our materials too.
Yep.
So go ahead and show off the read.
Okay, I'm going to show the others. The next one I'll get to is the purple one,
which we're calling Amethyst Ice.
Yes.
A little hard to say, but yeah.
If you guys Google amethyst, I think you'll see exactly why this pen was named that. Whoever came up with that, Brian, Rachel, whoever, great job on the name.
That one was
Thank
Rachel.
you.
I was the blue agate, and Rachel, I don't know if it's agate or agate.
Agate.
Is agate? Okay.
I have no idea.
I meant to look it up before the broadcast, but like I said, it's been a 14-hour day.
Now that you're holding up to the light, you can really.
It is a little bit translucent. I don't have the converter in here too, so that's part of why it's translucent.
Yeah,
but
I'm seeing this on the video now, and I would encourage people to make sure that you look at the photos on the blog because it looks a little pale on this video camera.
Yeah, it's much more vibrant.
It's more of a rich purple color than what you're seeing right now on the video camera.
It's like a lavender purple.
Yeah, there you go. I shouldn't have said purple. Lavender is a better word or a better descriptor.
Nice logo on the top there, center band, everything, same features. This one is a little more translucent. If you like to convert to an eyedropper, I had done that earlier myself. I've since cleaned it out, but I was able to see. I was even using purple ink in it, diamond amethyst. Amazing amethyst, actually. And I was able to see, moving back and forth, the ink level ever so subtly in the pen. So that's kind of nice feature of this pen. But the nibs as well, I did touch on this in the blog, but the nibs are interchangeable. Oh, is she getting tired?
Yeah, can you hold my computer?
I can. The nibs are interchangeable, just like the number 6 nibs.
Sorry.
No, whoops. I dropped Brian. Okay. Sorry, I'm all in the way. Okay. So, the nibs are interchangeable. And correct me if I do this wrong, Brian, but I think you grab with your thumb on the other side. But you basically grab on, don't grab the tip of the tines or anything. Grab it at the base and just give it a nice twist in a counterclockwise motion.
There you go.
And it unscrews right out of there. And I do this all the time with all my Edison pens. I swap nibs all over the place.
I will say, instead of what you did right there, you should probably unscrew the section and take the converter off the back. Otherwise, you'll be pulling the nib out of the converter when you do that.
I don't have a converter in here right now. That's why I didn't think to do that.
Yeah.
But that's a good point. And you've actually got a video on it. I've got a video on it as well.
Yep.
And then putting it back in is just as easy. Do it with the section off the pen, but screw it right on there. Oh, my chat is here. Oh, that only took 30 minutes.
You're not going to mess anything up by doing that, but it'll be easier to get off because the converter won't have a grip on the back of it.
Right. Okay. So that is Amethyst Ice. And part of what inspired these names is once we actually chose them, we were like, wow, these really look like exotic gemstones here. And we looked up and it was like, sure enough, blue agate looks like, looks exactly like that material. And the amethyst looks exactly like that. And the last color, turquoise, we're calling this Turquoise Lagoon, looks pretty gosh darn much like turquoise. So it ended up kind of with a gem thing going on. And that's just kind of...
That was an accident, wasn't it?
It really was. We had picked the colors independently. Actually, the blue we had picked like almost right away. And then the turquoise, I think. No, the turquoise we had picked right away too. It was the amethyst one that we kind of dragged our feet on a little bit. Yeah. We were really trying to pick that last one. What our goal was to pick like one, pretty manly color, one that was pretty much neutral, and then another one that was, fairly feminine. We didn't get like the crazy feminine that we were going for. We were trying to get like some kind of hot pink or something like that. We just didn't find anything that worked right. So the amethyst, I think, is the one that we ended up kind of choosing as our more feminine one. The turquoise is kind of the neutral, and then the blue is the one that we kind of settled on the more manly one, I guess.
We are getting some chat questions about price, and I'm sure that people are probably chomping at the bit on cost. Do you want to address that now, or do you want to do you want to keep them dangling for a little bit?
Yeah, we can go ahead and address the price. Now, the pens are more expensive than the typical Edison production pens, as you can probably guess, because Brian's got to do a little more work on the center band, the medallions. It's extra steps that he has to take, and extra expense with the hardware there. So the price for these pens, they're steel nibs. They're going to be $185. $185 is the price.
Yeah, I think some people were guessing a little higher. I was reading some forums where people were speculating, so I think that people will be happy with that price. That's about what we need to make sure that our investment in time and materials is met.
Yeah.
I also think it's a pretty fair price too.
We really weren't trying to gouge anybody on this. It's pretty much the increase in price over the other pens is basically just your time and material costs. We really weren't trying to make any more money per se on these pens versus any of the others. It just kind of had to be more expensive just because of what's involved in making these pens. I get. Would you know like what people were speculating that it was going to be? Because I didn't see any speculation.
Some people were guessing like well over 200 just because of the extra time and labor involved. And yeah, I mean there is, but we don't need to get greedy, And I think that also people will appreciate that price in that range, and we might stand to create more volume that way too. So I think it's good for us and good for customers too.
Well, the whole inspiration behind the Edison production lines were they're kind of the pens for the people. It was granted, $185 is still a lot of money to spend, for just about anybody, but for a custom built pen like this, you can certainly pay a whole lot more. But we wanted, Edison fans are really loyal. Our fans are really loyal and really, want these pens to be accessible. So keeping the price as low as we reasonably can is always on the back of our mind, even when we're designing these pens from the very beginning.
Absolutely.
And I think, hopefully, everybody will be able to tell us if we hit that range. But, I feel pretty good about where we came in with this pen. So.
And they're now live on the site.
Oh, you just did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd gotten it all hidden and stuff earlier. You still there, Brian?
Yeah, sure am.
Oh, okay.
And since it is live on the site, if people are liking that amethyst ice, make sure you look at Brian's photos of that. Like I said, the video camera was okay, but it looked a little pale to me. So if they've got it live on gouletpens.com, then go ahead and check it out. And this guy is actually killing me when it comes to photography. I think that I always had a lot of pride in my small product photography, but Brian is taking the bull by the horns when it comes to pen photography.
Yeah, I really dove in the deep end.
You're enjoying it though.
Well, I am, and it's I've always been kind of I've never really had hobbies outside of my work. Even when I was making pens, I kind of turned a hobby into a job, which is what parlayed into the Goulet Pen Company. But, pretty much all of my interests and passions have been things that have been tangential to the work that I do. So photography just fits so naturally into an online retail business, and Rachel's sister is a photographer as well. And so she was able to kind of help me out in the very beginning. I got a DSLR camera back in December of 2010, I think, right at the end of 2010. Got it for Christmas and just kind of started going crazy. And then really just in the last probably 3 months is when I've really dove in the deep end. I mean, pretty bad. But, it's really become a passion of mine. And specifically, interestingly enough, it has become a passion of mine to do macro photography, and specifically pen-related macro photography. It's a niche that I don't think is done really pretty much by anyone. I mean, it's a pretty specific type of photography to do, and it's pretty challenging as well, because if you ever do any kind of jewelry photography or anything like that, where you're taking really detailed pictures of small, round, shiny objects, especially if they're dark color, it's really just about as challenging as you can get as far as photography is concerned. The only thing that would be more challenging is if they were moving at the same time. in varying light conditions. That would be harder, but no, it's
just be glad I'm not getting into metal pens. Those are the most difficult to photograph, if you ask me.
Oh yeah, I can
Everything
imagine.
reflects.
I don't know. Black pens are pretty bad too.
Yeah. I'm
Shiny black pens are awful. If you then at that point you're not really doing photography. You're taking a picture, and your real work is editing dust. That's pretty much. It's pretty amazing. There's literally dust that you can't even see with your naked eye. That when you get into macro photography, all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, look at all that dust. And I wipe it with a microfiber cloth. I use an air blower to blow air right before I take the picture. Even still, there's dust. It's absolutely amazing. And if I take several pictures in a row, like within a 5 or 10 second period, you can see as I'm progressively taking the pictures that dust is actually collecting on the pens as I'm taking the pictures.
I'll just never buy a macro lens, and I'll never have to deal with that because I'll just never see it.
Exactly. So, I don't mind divulging some of my macro secrets too much because, quite frankly, it's just freaking hard work to get it to get it done right. But no, it is a blast. I'm having an absolute blast with the photography. And thank you, Brian, for your compliments. And you and I are going to continue to have photography battles. It is kind of funny because Rebecca, Rachel's sister, is a wedding photographer. So when it comes to taking pictures of people and doing capturing the moments of people and environments and stuff like that, Rebecca is like, she'll blow anybody out of the water. She's really good. Really good. Brian does
RebeccaHoyt.com.
Yeah, RebeccaHoyt.com. Yeah, we'll plug her. Sure. Brian has really taken a hold of architecture and HDR, and so you've got kind of your own thing that you got going on with your photography.
I've been loving that. Yep.
Yeah.
BrianGrayPhotography.blogspot, if we're going to plug a website.
There you go. That's your personal blog that you do just for your photography.
Yeah.
Which I don't know when you find the time to keep a second blog, but more power to you.
Well, you're not going to see an entry every day.
No, well, it's just for fun too, and you and I are both. You're much more active, but you and I are both over on the T2I forum, and I get to see some kind of the other side of your work there. It's kind of neat. I think you maybe have a creative outlet with the pens that you do, but I imagine a lot of what you're doing is more, manufacturing production. It's, some of it can be kind of tedious, right? On a day-to-day basis.
So if we go like 3 days of doing nothing but production pens, yeah, that can get tedious. The same thing over and over and over. But then, of course, I like to pepper in, a custom order. Obviously, every week I've got a queue of custom orders that are due, and there's always something new where somebody wants a neat challenge or something cool that So I always welcome that, and I enjoy kind of breaking whatever routine I have by somebody that wants, hey, can you do this? And I've got an idea, and then I'm thinking, okay, what is it? That's cool. All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
That definitely kind of brightens up the monotony of production style pens, and I don't think I can ever get rid of the custom side of the business for that reason.
No.
This is weird. Like, I posted something in the chat and I see it, but I don't see it on yours, and you're seeing people post on yours and I'm not seeing it on mine, so I'm wondering if other people are talking and we're not seeing it.
Something screwy is going on in the chat, but
yeah, I think I see very intriguing how much do these cost, and then I posted the cost, and there's only 2 comments after that, so I'm not seeing a lot of comments in chat at this point.
Yeah, someone's asking, are these nibs Japanese finest or more European? They're definitely European.
They're European, yeah.
Correct.
They are actually European.
They are European.
I mean, they come from Germany.
Yep.
Yeah. These, especially these number 5 ones, right? Just a little bit wetter. In terms of how wet, I've written up and tested every single pen that we carry, and I did add these pens Rachel and I both added these pens to the Nib Nook a couple of days ago. And doing those comparisons, I was actually able to see that your 18 karat nibs write a little wetter as well. And I think that these nibs write about the wetness of the 18 karat ones.
That's probably accurate. At least you're using 18 karat number 6s, right?
Number 6s, yeah, 18 karat number 6s.
Yeah, that's probably accurate.
Okay. That's what I found, and as far as what wetness these pens write with, compare them in the Nib Nook. That's really the best way to do it, is to see which, how these nibs compare to other ones you might be familiar with. Just offhand, I'm going to say that probably they're going to be close in size to Lamy, Kaweco probably, other German brands, Pelican even.
Yeah, just think German standards.
Yeah,
I think,
the Germans.
Like a fine is about 20 thousandths of an inch wide. Medium is around, I think, maybe like 28, and then a broad is around 32, 34 thousandths. Not that everybody can envision that in their mind right now, but that's why you have the nib nook, so that's probably the best place to go for that.
Yeah. Now, this is something I've just kind of personally been curious about, Brian. Maybe you can give me some insight. How much of a difference does it make in terms of the actual line width on a page between the wetness of the pen or the way the feed is designed versus the actual tip size of the nib?
Well, there's always been this discussion of like pen and nib manufacturers should have like this standard for everything, correct? And let's just make sure that a fine is a fine, a medium is a medium. But it's really impossible to do that because there's way too many factors that come into play besides just the nib and the feed and how well it's going to flow through there. I mean, whatever ink you're using is going to have a big, effect on it. If the paper that you're using is absorbent, humidity in your area can have a lot to do with it. So, it's a real difficult question to answer. The bottom line is that, the same pen could react very differently for two different people. So how can there be a standard? Now, that being said, if you have a nib with the exact same tip size, they're both like fine and, they're both, making the same surface area contact with the paper. If one has a bit more flow than the other, then yes, it's going to be a slightly, thicker line. If you're using them on the same paper, same ink, if you rule out everything that you can possibly rule out, then yes, you can expect a wetter nib to write a little bit, thicker than a nib that's drier.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
It's not going to be monstrous.
Well, another factor, too, is your writing pressure, the angle you hold your pen.
Absolutely.
I've even heard of people that altitude makes a difference. People that travel and maybe fly to Denver or something like that and then go back to sea level, they said their pens write differently at different altitudes.
Yeah.
So there's really just, I think that's part of both the thing we love and the thing we hate about fountain pens is that there are so many factors involved that it's maddening in the scientific sense, but it's also really exciting in the artistic sense to be able to
and honestly,
change your experience.
I really feel that everyone that is serious about fountain pens, I think that everybody should put some effort into learning how to do a little bit of tinkering with nibs for this very reason. Like I had a client that actually visited the shop last week, and he had a Waterman Careen that someone stubbed for him, and he wanted me to play around with it, and of course I did, and I got it writing perfect, and great, whatever, and I handed it to him. He couldn't get it to write at all, and it was skipping, it wasn't writing well, and so I figured out that really he was pushing a lot harder than I was, and he was kind of spreading the tines as he was doing that. So, it's a great example. Exact same pen, exact same nib, exact same ink. The only difference is one person's hand versus the other person's hand. So, that's something that I'm going to be putting some effort into soon is putting together like some tutorials on how to do some general tine alignment, tine smoothing, maybe even a little bit of flow adjustment, because as a fountain pen user, there's nothing more frustrating than when you get a pen that is beautiful and you love it, but the nib is just too dry or too scratchy, and you'd like it to perform a little bit better than what it is, but you don't know how to do it. It's almost like having a Ferrari with a flat tire. I mean, the nib makes all the difference. So that's something you can expect to see out of me maybe sometime in the spring or summer is, just general tutorials on how to get nibs to tweak to the way that you would like them to write.
Yeah, you and I have been talking about, nib tuning type education for a long time, and it always gets to be kind of a touchy subject because some people will appreciate it very much and other people will, try it and not be able to do it and maybe mess up their pens more. So there is kind of a responsibility or a liability, if you will.
Yeah, and I put a lot of thought into this too. And one of the reasons that I've held off on doing this type of thing is exactly what you're talking about, because if it's not done right, in a way, and of course you would have to put out the proper caveats. I mean,
Yeah.
the intention of this tutorial is to help you with this. If you can't replicate these results, whatever, at your own risk. Do what you want to with these nibs. But of course, I wouldn't be explaining anything that would be really, really difficult to grasp. But one of the reasons that I've hesitated on this is because putting it in writing and putting it in an article and just showing some photographs, I don't think that's going to do justice to what people really need. So
Yeah.
what I'm probably going to do with this is, the way that we can do broadcasts and we can do streaming and we can have video presentation, I think that's the key to making this work. And that's something that I'll probably be working on sometime soon is, this type of a tutorial. And I think the proper way to do it is with video. And of course, it's still going to have the right caveats, do this at your own risk. Please don't email me if you mess up your pen. Well, I take it back. I'd probably still address those emails, but, please don't curse my name if your nib doesn't write the way that you want after watching this tutorial. How's that?
Yeah, exactly.
Trying my best.
Well, and I can be a personal testament to your ability to teach over video. I mean, granted, you and we had Skyped over video, so we had the interactive video going on. But you were able to teach me, and I'm kind of in the same boat. I probably would do a tutorial like what you're describing, except I don't feel that I have the skills to be able to teach others in a confident enough manner to be able to do these types of things. I like to really know what I'm doing before I try to teach anybody else how to do it. But I think you've got enough experience where you're able to explain it in a very logical sense. At least you're able to with me.
We'll see. I think, I certainly, it's possible that, maybe, 3% of people that try this, man, I just messed up my pen, whatever, I will probably also recommend that people don't start doing this on their $5,000 Leumannsche, I mean, grab a Lamy Safari and start playing with those, because you can buy a replacement nib for a cheap amount, so hopefully no one would get mad at me as long as they're testing this out on their cheap pens, that you can replace the nib if something goes wrong, and even so, you can get like those Schaefer school pens and just like anything with a cheap steel nib to test this on, so regardless, anyways, look for that. Not to get off on too much of a tangent, but I think that's a topic that people are really, really interested in, and I'd like to think that I can get that addressed maybe, by the summer of this year.
Yeah, I think that would probably be, I mean, you might get some people that might be frustrated not being able to do it themselves, but I think for the most part, you would get, applauded very much in the community for putting together something like that.
Well, not only that, but I think that, honestly, overall, it's just going to help the pen community in general. Think about how many fountain pen collectors or people that, let's say that I bought 2 or 3 fountain pens and the nibs are just bad, or maybe that I just couldn't get them tuned right. I mean, there's a good chance that someone might just completely give up on the hobby after buying 3 pens that happen to not write very well. But if they watch this little tutorial, then all of a sudden the difference between a nib that is crappy and that is awesome is night and day. And, you guys know my theory on, like cheap pens. I'm a huge fan of, like, really cheap steel nibbed pens, like Lamy Safaris and Twisbys, and Twisbys I wouldn't say cheap necessarily, but considering those piston fillers and what they've got, those are great pens. I mean, that might seem counterintuitive to what I'm trying to do with my business, but there's definitely a place for that. If you look in my shop, you'll see Coeco Sports, and you'll see Lamy Safaris and Twisbys, and one of the reasons is if I drop one on the floor, I'm not going to, lose my lunch. I'm not going to be that too concerned. So there's definitely a good place for those cheap steel nibbed pens.
Absolutely.
And they can write great.
Absolutely. I think probably most people that are looking at your Edison pens probably already have an arsenal of Safaris and Coecos and and Preppies and things like that.
Well, then they're ready to do some nib tuning if that's the case.
Well, there you go. There you go. So
all right,
that's
not to get too far on that topic, but hopefully, I know, and please, I might sound like a broken record because I might have said that I want to do that tutorial like 6 months ago, but trust me, it is on my agenda, but it's also one of those deals where, I've got tons to do with the whole manufacturing
pshaw.
anyways, but it will happen, and I've been talking to some other guys that want to help me out with kind of like the video production side of it, so we'll see.
Well, that would be great, yeah. I think everybody would love to see that. Okay, have we missed anything as far as coverage of the of the Encores. I know that...
You know, the chat hasn't moved for probably the last 10 or 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think people are still having trouble.
Do you guys want to say, like, email, like, do you want to say email Rachel at this address with questions, just in case? Because I don't think the chat's really working.
Yeah, or tweet. You know, I'm on Twitter right now. If you have questions, go ahead and tweet us.
Yeah, if you're on Twitter, you can...
Or, yeah, email me. That'd be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it at Goulet Pens?
Yeah, Rachel at gouletpens.com.
RACHEL.
What's the Twitter? At Goulet Pens?
Oh, yeah, Goulet Pens.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
at Goulet Pens.
But people, I'm sure the chat is not working because usually 102 people,
yeah,
we've got lots of activity,
Yeah.
and I'm not seeing anything. So, you know, send in the questions to Twitter or email, and we can address them quickly.
Yeah, we're really sorry about the chat not working. I mean, we're completely at the mercy of Justin TV, and, you know, who knows what kind of technical issues might be going on. But, you know, we appreciate you sticking with us and at least watching what's going on anyway. So thank you for that.
On questions, what is that round ball that's in the bottom of the screen right now?
Yeah, sorry, that's
like it's attached to your laptop.
That's our microphone. It's called a snowball mic.
Oh, there you go. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So it's our microphone, and it doesn't get any shorter than this. And when we're shooting with the laptop on the couch, kind of like we are, there's no way I can do it without having the snowball in the shot. So
that's cool.
Sorry about that. I know it's got this little red light on top too.
And that was on your laptop.
That's kind of what it looks like, yeah. But
or a little R2D2's peeking up.
Yeah. I mean, the mic, it's a great mic for anybody who wants to do any podcasting or do any videos, but step up the quality of the mic over your computer. It's $100 for a snowball. It's pretty.
You need to get a headset like mine, so you look like a geeky video gamer.
So you look like what's his name, the ShamWow guy? Vince,
no,
I think.
What's his new product now? Doesn't he have the?
Oh, he's got some other.
Getting some questions via Twitter.
Oh, Rachel's getting some questions here.
Okay, 2 questions. Number 1, how would we arrange customized nibs?
Okay.
So we'll answer that. Number 2 was the cost of extra nibs. So the cost of extra nibs, I believe it's the same, is $25.
No, it's going to be less, Rachel. We'll talk about that. You can anticipate. Please don't hold this to me yet, but I'm pretty sure the retail price of the number 5 nibs will be $18. But let's not make that a promise yet. That's something that we should have discussed beforehand. But I'm pretty sure we can do 18.
Let's say between
make that a hard price
between 18 and 25. We'll go with that.
Should I? Oh. I had the option on our website. Should I take it off temporarily?
You know what? I'm sorry, folks. So I'm thinking out loud now because obviously the engraving portion of that nib adds some extra cost to me. So it might be a $20 nib. So 20 and 25 is what I'm going to say for now. And then if I can bring that cost down after I do a little math and I figure out, what my, investment really is, then we'll figure that out. But for now, make it 20 for a number 5 nib, okay?
Okay. I haven't, to anyone asking, I have not made it available as a separate option on our site yet. I just listed the pens tonight. So if you want to buy separate number 5 nibs, I haven't done it yet. But you can buy extra nibs with a pen. I do have that option set up at the moment.
Okay.
So that was one question. The other was about getting, there's a couple questions now. Arranging customized nibs.
Mm-hmm. So customized nibs, we'll treat that the same as we do any other pen. Mm-hmm. Basically, purchase the pen through the Goulets and then contact me back channel, or you can put something in the comments section of your Goulet order, and that'll get to me as well. So, now I will say this though, if you do want a customized nib, make sure that you email me around the exact same time that you placed your order, because the Goulets are pretty fast with their bookwork, and I'm pretty fast with my bookwork. So sometimes, if you order a pen at 10 o'clock, they're going to email me the request, and it might ship at 10:30. So, make sure that if you do want a customized nib, you put something in the comments section.
Yes, yeah. When you check out on our site.
Exact same time to make sure that I have time. There's been a couple times that somebody wants a customized nib and it just shipped like 3 hours ago.
Yeah, putting in the order comments is the best way, and preferably if you can email us about it ahead of time before you even place the order, give us a heads up too. That is also good, but the order comments is like the best thing you can do.
Absolutely.
because
we'll see it, and
the comments on the orders go through like 5 sets of eyeballs before it actually leaves our shop. So that's the most fail-safe way to go about it.
And it goes through an extra set when it gets here too.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then I will say, I know this may be a little inconvenient for people, but you will pay the Goulets for the pen and me for the customization. It's just so much easier on our bookkeeping to do it that way. So you might do 2 separate transactions, but if you don't mind doing that, You will get a customized nib without any weighting, and also italics are generally 40, and if you want a smaller tip like an extra fine, then generally 50.
Now, I know one thing people are going to ask is, are extra fine, stock extra fines going to be on the horizon for the number 5 nibs?
Possibly. I think that the manufacturer is working on them now. So, maybe summertime, but I can't make any promises now. But
Yeah.
yes, I would anticipate extra fines coming stock would happen eventually.
That would be great to see. I know when we came out with the Premier initially, it was only fine, medium, and broad. And then you came out with the extra fine really not that long ago. It was just a couple months ago.
I would say like 6-7 months ago, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah.
Wow.
It all melts together for me. I
It's
don't
been a
even know, to
blur
tell you
for
the
us
truth.
lately.
Yeah, we've been a little busy too. so.
Another question via Twitter. Any plans to add additional colors? I would say not immediately.
Not immediately. I mean, we just came out with these
But we
3
could-
so
we could
far,
see
but
down the road. If you have suggestions, like if you're not crazy about these 3 colors.
yeah.
Now, Brian Gray, we mentioned this briefly, but if someone wanted to do this as a custom pen, like with their own material, is that available at signature price?
Yeah, it would be. Now, I haven't decided the exact price yet, but it would be more than a standard signature line pen because of the extra parts and the extra work with the
Sure.
center band and the medallion. I would say probably $285 if you wanted to have a custom version of this made with your own material or to your specifications.
Yeah.
But don't hold me to that. Email me and then I'll give you an exact quote.
And it's that way too for the Premier, for anybody that's not familiar with that. If you really like the Premier, but you want it in a different material or with some different colored hardware, or whatever extra custom features you want, it's the same kind of deal where you can use the same body, but it's a custom pen at that point.
Correct.
But you can do it if that's what you want.
Yep.
The production
And
aspect of the
that's the same price as what you would get for any other signature line pen. It's just because when we do these, the reason we can get the price down to $185 is because we have 3 colors and we do it like a production line, and because it is a production line. So if you wanted it custom, then obviously it's a bit more time because we're not doing them all in a series.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think most people understand that pretty well.
Rocky wants to know if the fountain pen is future-proof. Wink,
Future
wink.
proof. That's Rocky in
Future-proof?
Australia. He's in Australia.
He's
Oh,
in the
that's Rocky,
future.
isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah, he's already in the future.
He's had trouble getting into the chat.
Oh, future-proof. I thought you said feature-proof. I gotcha.
No,
Future.
future proof. Yeah, we joked with him because we had done when we did our first test. No, you did your first test, Google Hangout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rocky was in there with us. We were giving
He's
him a
in
hard
the
time
future.
about being in
Tomorrow.
Australia. Yeah. So the pen had already released in his time.
Yeah.
It was actually shipped yesterday.
Oh man. Yeah.
Well, any other questions about the Encore? And I'm sure, and we've been going over an hour now. We haven't, like we said, we haven't broadcasted in a while, and we've had
Yeah,
a
we've
lot
got
of
a
new
lot.
stuff come in. We have new stuff coming. I'm sure there are other questions, but while we have Brian Gray on the line, I just want to make sure we got all questions or anything about the Encore or Edison's.
Something that I just thought of, although I don't know we can give a definite answer tonight. We didn't discuss this yet, but 18 karat certainly would be an option.
Okay.
But we didn't discuss this at all, did we? So I have
I
no
thought
idea
of
what
that.
the price should be on that.
Yeah, I
But
thought of
if
that
anybody
earlier
wants an
today. I meant to
18 karat
ask.
Nib, I will tell you that my number 5 18 karat nibs are not engraved. They probably will be someday, but I'm not sure what that timeline is. So be aware of that. Be aware that the price, of course, would go up significantly, at least $100, I would say.
Yeah.
If not, maybe like $125. So the gold nib certainly would be an option. Contact the Goulets or myself, and we can tell you what that is. Because honestly, I just thought of that, and obviously, I don't think the Goulets thought of it either. So we don't have an answer
Well,
to that. But
it crossed my mind.
It crossed my mind
earlier today when I set it up on the web, but
Well,
I didn't know if it was an option.
It crossed my mind earlier, but the way I looked at it was, when we released the Premiere, it was with steel nibs only, and it was only after we had a significant number of people asking us for gold nibs that we decided to make it a regular option.
Well, maybe it's one of those things that if the demand is there, then we'll add it to the website. If
Yeah,
not, then
that's-
we'll just take it
that's-
like a case-by-case basis.
That's kind of what I'd figured. Like, we had.
Yeah, if you want one, just let us know.
Yeah, be aware that it is an option. Just contact us about it, and if we get 1 or 2 people that are interested and see that there may be potential for making it a convenience. If there's not an interest for it, I don't want to clutter up the website with additional options that might confuse you or anything like that. But we'll keep it simple for now and see how it goes.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
And really, even if the percentage of 18 karat nib sales is kind of low anyways.
Yeah.
So it might be
steel
a
nibs
good
are
idea
great.
to keep it as a, just contact us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, any other questions? I don't see anything coming in on Twitter. Check my email.
We'll cover some.
Misty unveiling. Can you hold up the pens again so we can see them in hand?
Sure. And we'll be posting this video live tomorrow. I'm not live. We'll be posting.
While he's showing these, I'm just curious via Twitter or via chat or via email. What is everybody's impression of this? I'll give. I mean, a little bit of backstory. I'll tell you guys that I'm actually personally very proud of this pen. It's really my foray into center bands on a production scale, and also I kind of like that medallion. It's been a long time coming too to really get this from an idea in our heads to the actual product. So as I was assembling these the last few days, I was like kind of patting myself on the back, like, "Hey, nice job, Brian. I like these." So anyways, I'm just curious what kind of feedback you guys have on this pen. Maybe send it out via Twitter, email, or chat if it's actually working.
Yeah, well, we had a couple things on
Trying to give a perspective of what it's like.
The blue agate seems to be the most popular.
Yeah, it is.
You know what? I anticipated that, so our inventory of blue agate is actually maybe double the others right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It just looks awesome. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I am very biased towards this color.
Yeah, we sold a couple so far. Yeah, love the new pens. I did get a couple questions via email. I just noticed. Brian mentioned on the Fountain Pen Geeks forum that the emblem on the Encore screws out. When screwed out, would you see the nib? Could this help with cleaning?
I'm sorry? Say that again?
And this is what they said. Brian mentioned on the Fountain Pen Geeks forum that the emblem on the Encore screws out.
Oh, you know what? Somebody misunderstood. They asked me if the finial screwed in and out. And the answer is the finial unscrews, but I don't necessarily recommend that people do that. Don't disassemble your pen unless you know what you're doing.
Right.
But the emblem or the medallion, that is epoxied into place.
Yeah.
What he's talking about as far as the finial here.
But actually, if you could see a cross-section of that, the medallion or the emblem is actually quite deep. It's about 1/10 of an inch thick. So, and it also is built with some pretty tight tolerance. So between the surface area of the bottom and the sides and the fact that it sits in there deep, I don't think even if you had some tools or a pick that you could really even get it out of there.
Yeah.
So I think someone was concerned about like this medallion not being threaded because it might pop out, but I have no concerns with that at all. So if anyone does a medallion pop, we'll take care of you anyways. But I made sure to engineer that so that it's actually a pretty thick medallion. It's not something that's just like, a 32nd of an inch thick. It's actually probably 1/10, maybe even thicker. So there's lots of surface area to catch down there. And then I also have, you would never see this, but there is a recess underneath the flat surface to collect even more epoxy. So there's lots of surface area holding that medallion in. Or I think some people refer to that as a taffy, which I wasn't aware of. You guys ever heard that term, a taffy?
Taffy?
Mm-mm.
Taffy, T-A-S-S-I-E, is another term for like a jewel in the top of a cap.
I think I've heard that before. It might be on, I might have seen that on Binder's Glossary or something. That might be an older term.
I think so. It's more of a vintage term. But anyways,
yeah,
I'm sorry. The finial will unscrew, but I don't recommend doing it because then the clip is going to be loose, and then you'll have to reassemble it. And I prefer to do that in shop. The medallion is epoxied into place, but it's also very, very secure. I wouldn't worry about that a bit.
And the finial that he's talking about here is if you look where the clip is, from the clip up is a separate piece, and that part screws on to hold the clip on. You can actually see there's a break in the material right there.
Yeah.
That's the part that he's referring to.
But please don't unscrew it. You don't have any reason to do it, and then
it's not going to help with cleaning or anything.
That clip is under tension. And so what you need to do is you need to flatten out the clip and kind of press it into place and then screw the finial into place. When I'm at my shop with my tools and I've got that mounted on a mandrel, it's very easy to do. But when you don't have it on a mandrel and you're trying to put that clip into place and also get the threads lined up, it's difficult. So, if you have a problem, let me know, but don't bother unscrewing that finial.
Yeah.
A couple Twitter comments. The Blue Gate looks sweet. By the way, looking forward to nib tuning videos. Was just looking for some today.
Cool.
Someone else said, beautiful pen, like the new features, good price point for what this pen offers.
Cool.
Someone else said, the pens look great. Not the colors for me, but the blue is my favorite of the three. It's growing on me. Other people can't decide between the colors. Got another email. Great fun listening to you two Brian's tonight. If Brian is thinking of putting together a nib tutorial, would he also consider having a fun workshop at one of the shows like DC? It would be fun to get someone other than Richard to interact with the pen fans. A workshop, very informal, mostly a sharing and tips kind of thing, and doing some pen photography would make a great fun interactive workshop as well at a show. Out west, there seems to be more of this kind of thing. Would love to attend such an opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, but I'll be honest with everybody. Whenever there's workshops at those shows, I never have an opportunity to even attend them, let alone give one.
I have an idea.
We are stacked. On the busiest day of a show, we could have like 10 people lined up at our table. So it can get really crazy. And if I did take time to do that at a show, then of course I'm kind of missing opportunities I take it back though, because maybe I should think about that, because then of course I'm meeting people at the seminar itself.
Well, I have an idea, and this is going to be our strategy to the show. As you guys know, we will never do a booth again for all the reasons we've gone into before. But we're definitely going to be at DC. We were debating, should we get a table, should we not? If we got a table, we wouldn't be selling anything, so we feel kind of silly. We're thinking about just hanging out in the lobby and, just so we can just hang out and talk to people. What if you brought a camera and,
I think that's a great
just
idea.
talk to people informally.
Through there.
We don't need like a formal seminar. We'll just be there, and anyone who wants to talk.
Well, I'm bringing my camera anyway.
Exactly. So if you guys want to talk to us about photography, come sit with us, talk with us. We'll be in the little farting chairs in the lobby there.
There's one stipulation though, okay?
Yeah.
It has to be not far or in the bar. How's that? No, but honestly, that is a really good idea, and I do have actually another answer to that. I think that it would be great to maybe schedule a Goulet Pens, Edison Pen hangout.
Yes.
The lobby or at the DC Pen Show. There's plenty of seats around the bar and that restaurant area, and just have a big round table and people, hey, come pick my brain on nib tuning, come pick Brian's brain on photography. The other option that I was thinking,
we'll bring our swab booklet.
It never hurts to just come up to my table at a pen show and say, hey, Brian, how do you align times? Well, let me show you. As long as I'm not stacked, pick the right time. If there's like 10 people lined up at my table, I'm not going to sit down with you for 15 minutes and talk about nib tuning. But, if you catch me at the end of the day, the very beginning of the day, or a time that it's not busy at the show, I'd love to do that. That would be perfectly cool. So, that's a good idea. And Rachel, maybe that's something we should do at like every pen show. Just have like an Edison Pen Company hangout, like after dinner or before dinner, in the hotel lobby, bar, restaurant, whatever.
Yeah, that would be cool.
You can bring some stinky ink.
There you go.
We'll definitely be at DC. I'm actually waiting to find out my 10-year high school reunion is they're planning it for some Saturday night in August. So I'm waiting to see if it's going to be that night or not. So I'll have to see if we're going to that or not. Rocky says you guys better invent a teleporter soon so he can get to that bar.
Well, if a teleporter gets invented, he'll know about it first since he's
that's true.
Since he's ahead of us. Yeah.
What was I gonna say?
Yeah, we're kind of up in the air about DC now, especially.
No,
since
we're definitely going.
Especially since we're moving like 2 months before that now. It's going to be a little crazy. I don't want to commit to doing like any formal type of thing.
No, that's what I'm saying. Not be formal. Like, we're going to be there. We're going to be hanging out. If anyone wants to like talk about specific things, come sit with us one-on-one. That's the best way to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. And
yeah, but if you're cool with this, just plan it. Just say like, Friday night at this time at the hotel lobby. Let's all hang out.
Yeah, definitely.
And then if there's a video camera while someone is explaining photography and someone is explaining nib tuning, then all the better, for people that can't be there live.
Someone emailed, if there's time, could we say something more about the eyedropper conversion? So I don't know if one of you has a video.
Do you have a video on your eyedropper? Yeah, you do, don't you?
Yeah, sure do. If anybody goes, go to edisonpen.com, and on the sidebar, you'll see the categories of all my blog entries. Mm-hmm. If you look for the tips and hints category, you'll see that. but I can cover it quickly here. Essentially, if anybody wants to do an eyedropper conversion, you remove.
I'll be your demo Vanna White here.
There you go. I was gonna, you're on a delay here though, so I'll try and keep up with me.
Do you want me to explain it? Because it's not that hard.
Basically, you're going to unscrew the nib, unscrew the section, I should say, and then pull the converter off. You're going to fill the barrel of the pen directly with ink, with an eyedropper. So you pour your ink right into the barrel, and then I recommend. It's not always necessary, but it makes me feel good when people do this. Use a little bit of silicone grease on those threads. Just take a toothpick or something similar and apply a little bit of silicone grease. Don't slop, don't really lather it on there. It's a very thick grease, and it doesn't require much surface area to create a seal. And then when you screw that in, I'm waiting for my hand model to go ahead and screw this. There it goes.
You want to screw the nib section.
You screw that.
You want to
screw the section back on, then you
screw the
a
section
seal between the barrel and the section with that silicone grease, and you're set to go as an eyedropper.
Voila.
I will say this though, sometimes, many times, you will not have a saturated feed because you didn't dip the nib to fill the pen. So you may just want to dip the nib in some ink to get your feed a little bit saturated. And then, once the feed gets saturated, then the ink that's in the reservoir will catch up, and you'll have a good distribution of ink and a good flow. So that's eyedropper conversion. Or go to edisonpen.com and look under hints and tips.
And the thing you definitely want to remember to do is to take your nib section and screw it onto the body. Well, do not take your body filled with ink and try and screw it onto the nib section, or you'll have a mess on your hands. But yeah, eyedropper conversion is super, super easy. Works great. You can actually do it with all the Edison pens, right?
Correct.
All the Edison pens you can do an eyedropper conversion. Major plus.
Brian, real quick question from someone who had ordered one. Obviously, these 3 pens all have silver hardware. Are two-tone nibs available?
Yeah, I could put a two-tone nib on it. Personally, I think it's a little bit of a mismatch to the rhodium trim.
Agreed.
But the customer is always right. So if anybody wants a two-tone nib on these, then put something in your comment section or send me an email. Sending me an email is fine, but putting something in the comment section is probably best. That way the Goulet and I both get the message.
Yeah.
It's like a universal.
And they are engraved as well, correct?
Correct.
Cool. Yeah. So someone was asking.
Yeah, we're not going to make it a stock option just because, for the production ability of this pen, we like to try and keep it consistent. But as a special request, if you really want a two-tone, now none of the other hardware you're going to be able to swap out. Everything else is going to be rhodium. It's only that nib that you could possibly change out.
Yeah, correct. Actually, I don't even have the medallions in gold trim to begin with, so that wouldn't be a possibility with the medallion.
But I get the nib thing because it is two-tone, and the two-tone. A lot of people do like that two-tone look on the nibs. So
yeah, I was giving my personal opinion. I'm not right.
Sure,
I'm just
sure.
Well, if you're writing with
a two-tone nib on that, it would certainly complement any of those blue colors.
Well, if you're writing with it
turquoise
unposted,
would probably look pretty good, but especially the blue agate, that would look okay with two-tone nib for sure.
Yeah, I think so. So we won't make it a regular option. Again, it's going to be like the 18-karat nibs. If a bunch of people start asking for it, maybe we'll make it as a separate option. But the default is definitely going to be the rhodium. So I think that about covers everything I wanted to talk about as far as the Encores go. Brian, was there anything else that you can think of that you wanted to cover?
No, I think we've covered it all. It seems like, in spite of the chat not working, seems like a very warm reception for this pen. So if anybody has any comments on the design or the pen itself,
there is a question for you, Brian, regarding the Pearl LE that you're doing.
Yes.
Folks want to know if there's an ETA.
I have not announced this, so this is coming straight from the horse's mouth and kind of exclusive. People will probably have those pens sometime next week. How's that?
Yep. Mm-hmm. We're gearing up. We're getting ready.
Yep, we're getting ready for
guys are ready to get packing.
Yeah. The Grays have been working.
I have a habit when I do these group buys to under-promise and over-deliver. I think I was telling people like 2 months, but the reality of this is this probably took us maybe 2 or 3 weeks. So right now, the night pens are almost completely finished. I did get the clips in, so we have maybe, I'm going to say 3 more days of work, get those shipped off to the Goulets, and people should have those pens late next week. If it's a little later than that, forgive me, but, I'm just giving a guesstimate right now. I would say people should have those pens late next week.
Yeah, we're kind of clearing our schedule for when we know those pens are going to arrive. We're going to try and turn them around.
Same day.
Well, if we get them delivered early in the morning, we're going to try and get them delivered out that day.
Depends.
But depending on the timing of the shipment
mail,
and all that stuff.
Well, no, it's really dependent on the mail trucks. Whether
Yeah.
we get two
It's going to be a
deliveries
pretty
in
big
one.
shipment for me, too. I might just go out and get a pallet and just put this on a huge pallet, and you guys will have a forklift. Just bring
Bring
all
it
these to
on.
the shop.
Bring it on. We got
a bay door.
a loading dock and a bay door. We're legit.
Our landlord has a forklift.
We can handle a pallet. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's good news all around there on that FPN pen. That was a fun little surprise throwing that thing together. A lot of people are going to be.
It was a lot of. Well, it was as if it's over. It has been a great project so far. So thanks to everybody that participated in that. I think that based on the response, that might be an annual thing that the Edison Pen Company does. I think it's a pretty cool project. We enjoyed it, and I think a lot of people that otherwise wouldn't, maybe I wouldn't consider buying a Pearl for $250, but hey, $170, yeah, I'll do that, and it probably exposes more people to our products, and I think a lot more people will enjoy it.
Cool. Brian's gonna go grab my Mina. I wanted to show how the Encore compares to the Mina.
Okay.
Well, here's an extended
No, mine's regular. It's not extended.
Oh, you're right. Where is it?
It's in my purse in the little side zippered pocket. I brought it home to clean.
Yes.
And by clean, I mean for you to clean.
Oh, I love this material.
I know.
It looks like the chat might be kind of working now. Someone said limited edition Encore. Not immediately, but that could certainly happen someday.
Oh,
Don't you guys
definitely.
agree?
Oh yeah, I could see us doing that. Okay. Well, first off, here's the Mina, in this very cool checkered pattern.
One of my favorite materials, by the way, Rachel.
Yeah. Oh, this is a good one.
I'm thrilled with it.
Okay, so the Mina next to the Encore, actually,
They're pretty comparable.
almost exactly the same length.
Almost.
The
Encore's the
body diameter.
If you hold them,
Yeah, it's almost
they're
exactly.
almost exactly the same length.
The body diameter of the Encore is smaller than the Mina, but the Mina's got a decent step down on the section. That's going to be your main difference.
Agate. Everyone's saying it's agate.
Agate? That's
Blue
what I
agate?
thought.
Agate.
So the chat's working all of a sudden, huh?
I sounded kind of like an idiot saying agate, so I think it is agate. That's what I thought. Okay, well,
Yeah, it's the same nib as the Mina.
actually
So
it's
if
the
you-
same section. Look at that, Brian. I didn't even notice that. The exact same profile on the
Took you
section.
guys that long to figure it out?
Just never put two and two together.
I've
It is
been
the
waiting
same
for
section
someone
as
to
the
clean
Mina.
out my pen.
But you can see that the Mina's got a step going up to the body, and the Encore just from the threads basically just goes right to the body. There's no step. That was important to us to have no step, because me with my big freaking hands, I didn't want to step there, because that's one of the things I don't like about the Mina as much is my thumb wants to go right where that step is. Not that it's really too bothersome, but it's more natural to me to have a pen without a step there.
See, and I hold all my fingers real close. It's really comfortable.
Yeah,
for
she
me.
grips on the
I'm
front,
the
so it's
same as Rachel, and when it comes to these pens that have the same barrel and cap diameter, obviously you have to have a step if when the cap is on,
right.
the diameter is the same. So I do the same as Rachel on the Pearl, on the Mina, on all the pens that have a step. They don't touch at all. But some people just can't have that, and that's one of the reasons that we have the Premier, we have now the Encore, the Huron is a good example of one that has the same type of deal as well.
Yeah, so I'm glad Brian did a custom grind for me for my Mina, so now I can, if I want, I can use this nib on one of our Encores if I so choose.
There you go.
So, yeah, I love
Yeah.
my Mina. It's my everyday pen now.
It's become her daily writer. That's what she uses all the
well,
time.
I need to clean it out, but it was my daily writer until I ran out of ink and.
Now she needs me to clean it out, is what she's trying to say.
Yeah, I know.
I need to clean out at least 25 of my own pens.
And
I've gotten really behind.
Maybe I already shared this a while ago. Do you guys remember how I lost my Schaefer Prelude? Like
for the 2010
2 years
DC
ago.
show?
I lost I found it like a couple months ago, and it hadn't get it, and so literally it was like
it's been almost 2 years.
Yeah, so we're gonna use that as a test video for the JB's Perfect Pen Flush to see how well that really works, because it had noodlers in it for over a year. So we'll see how well it does. That'll be like a real live one take demo to see.
Boy,
if
I better not screw it up and say converter instead of cartridge or something like that on that video.
Yeah, well.
What flavor of noodlers was in it?
It was some kind of pink. You know what? I think it was.
Was it? I thought it was North African Violet or something.
No. I think it was Bay State Cranberry.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That should be a real test. That should be interesting.
Yeah,
I've been nervous to touch it because I know it's like you only get one shot. Otherwise, I'll have to ink it up and wait another 2 years.
So anyway,
and now our chat's working. God darn it!
Well, some people are still having trouble getting in, so I think it's working for some and not others.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more activity in the last 10 minutes, though.
Oh yeah, well,
I'm glad I figured out how to say blue agate, though.
Blue agate.
Blue agate.
How many different ways can we screw up that word?
It's like a 5-letter word, and you can pronounce it so many different ways.
You know, what's funny is like, we're a retailer and we carry a lot of different brands, and you would think that as official retailers we would know how to say the proper names for a lot of these products, but we don't get any better information than you guys get. We have to
everything
basically
we see is written. We don't talk to people.
Yeah, and a lot of times the distributors don't know. Unless you're talking like direct with the manufacturer, which rarely happens, we usually have to just do a good bit of detective work to try and figure out the official names or pronunciations of things.
So Brian Gray, email, if someone wanted a custom Encore, could it be made as a bulb filler?
I'm going to be answering that question probably sometime this week because I'm going to be making one for myself and also as a test. But the answer right now is I'm 95% sure that yes, there will be no problem with a bulb filler Encore.
Okay.
But now I will say
obviously
this,
cost.
an ink window may be difficult because the barrel is so thin compared to a lot of my other models. When I make an ink window, I need to thread the window into the regular material on both ends, and there has to be enough thickness to really support that structure. And I'm not sure that this pen will be able to have an ink window the same way that I'm not confident I'm not confident putting an ink window on the Mina, and this is much thinner than the Mina. So the immediate answer is yes, bulb filler, but no ink window unless I can engineer something, more realistic for an ink window. But right now, I'm not sure that I would trust that really thin material to take an ink window and be able to actually fit threads in there.
Makes sense.
Yep, but there's always options. You could pick a rather translucent material, and that would, the material itself would serve as the ink window.
Yeah. Cool. Wow, that wouldn't have been my guess. I wouldn't have thought you could make a bulb filler out of a pen this small.
Yeah, shouldn't be any problem. I'm going to know soon because I want to make one for my own edification, and then I can answer those questions. And quite honestly, I want to make one for my own personal use too.
Do you know what material you want to pick for that?
I do. I've got a couple ideas. One is that green pearlized that I use a lot, and that I think you guys have seen that before. Yeah. And I've also just thought about maybe like some tortoise celluloid.
Well, you had some really cool materials that we really liked, but you couldn't get in production quantities.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot more options than we had.
People might see on my website that you can get for a custom pen, but I really can't use in a production setting. Either the price of the material is cost prohibitive, or it doesn't come to me in lengths or diameters that are conducive to production. Without getting into too much of that, if I get materials in 12-inch lengths, it's just not worth it to do production pens out of that. I really need to have full meters in order to do that.
Gentian suggested via Twitter, Diamine Soft Mint would look really good in the Turquoise Lagoon pen.
Oh,
I
yeah.
agree. I was actually just using that ink today.
That's actually a surprisingly nice ink. I was
using it in a Lamy 1.1.
I thought it would
shades amazing.
I thought it would look really weak, but a lot of the new Diamond colors they've been coming out with have been pretty awesome.
They've been fairly lubricated with really good shading, but not overly saturated. They've been really nice.
Yeah, Diamond's been doing some good stuff lately.
But anyway, yeah, I keep saying we're going to get to other stuff. It's now 10:30.
Yeah, well, we can just kind of quickly cover some other things.
I want to make sure, with...
Oh, yeah. Brian gets as much time as he wants.
Yeah.
Anything else, Brian?
Nothing on this end.
Or if you want to just kind of hang out.
Your emails coming in.
Yeah, why don't we, we'll try and cover some other stuff, and if anything comes in, you can just kind of hang out and pop in as needed. Could the regular Encore be used as an eyedropper? Yes.
Yes, you just need a little bit of silicone grease and it'll convert to an eyedropper.
Honestly, you can probably do it without silicone grease, but a little silicone grease is just an extra measure of
feel
protection.
better if they use it, but it's probably not necessary.
I always recommend it. Even when you're converting something like a Preppy or something like that where it has an O-ring, I still recommend silicone grease on the threads. It's never a bad idea. Okay, so other things. Gosh, we only have a month's worth of stuff to cover. Let's see here. We moved our business and we are rocking and rolling. We only lost 3 days of shipping, which was pretty good considering that literally we were swapping locations with another company that was moving into our space. So we had 2 of our companies that were swapping at the same time.
It's a bit like one of those puzzles that is like a 4x4 with like a piece missing, so it's like 15 squares and like there's a hole, and so you're trying to rearrange.
Yeah, it's those puzzles where there's one missing piece and you have to slide them all around to fit in that one empty space. That's kind of what we were doing for like 3 straight days. But we got settled in. Our crew worked really hard.
Yeah, we only lost a couple of days of shipping. It wasn't too bad.
And then we got right back on the only thing that really got behind was me. In my blogging and videos and all that stuff, because with the logistics of moving, you can imagine that me
all your utilities.
Well, yeah, we're the owners, so we have to sign off on everything and pay for lots of
address changes.
Yeah, pay for lots of extra stuff and shelving and coordinate a lot of logistical things. So all my time was consumed with that. I'm just now getting to the point where my studio's set up. I'm taking pictures again. I'm going to be shooting some videos. I've got a slew of ideas. I mean, I have more ideas than I know what to do with than I'll ever be able to produce myself in the near future. So there's no shortage of good content that I am going to prepare to put out. And actually, we are in the process of hiring someone else to be able to help me with some of the production capacity of the blog and the videos and stuff and pictures. So that is going to be a huge relief to me, and you can look for a lot of great stuff to be coming from us, later on in the summer. So good stuff there. But we have gotten several new brands in. We got in Banded Apple, Carnet notebooks, which are coming out of Vietnam. We are, I think, the first, if not one of the first, U.S. retailers to be carrying this brand.
We are the first.
We are the first. So it's very similar to Field Notes, which for any of you who are familiar with Field Notes at all, I think a lot of people are somewhat familiar with Field Notes, which we actually started carrying that as well. But Banded Apple in the smaller size is similar to Field Notes. Banded Apple does have some little bit larger size notebooks. They're basically pocket notebooks, so they're kind of nice in that respect. They're sewn binding, lay flat really well. The paper that's in these is not quite as smooth as Clairefontaine and Rhodia. That's one of the complaints we get about Clairefontaine and Rhodia is sometimes it's a little too smooth for some people. Some people like things a little bit more absorbent, so it dries faster. That is what Banded Apple, that is what Field Notes, that's what Crown Mill, that we're trying to diversify our paper a little bit. Now, of course, when you do that, when you get away from the slickness, from the ink resistance of Clairefontaine and Rhodia, sometimes you sacrifice a little bit of feathering, a little bit of bleed through in some of the extreme ink and pen situations. But as long as you understand kind of what you're getting into, then you can really enjoy some of these notebooks. So you can expect that we're going to be coming out with more videos, comparisons of some of these paper brands to each other, because we have kind of expanded a lot of paper that I haven't been keeping up with on the blog, and I am aware of that, so thanks for your patience on that. Also, we're going to be carrying Stillman and Burn for any of you who are big watercolor fans, and
or
maybe
really like sketching.
Or sketching and mixed media stuff. You probably know about Stillman and Burn, especially if you keep up with Jamie Grossman and the Hudson Valley Sketches blog. She's a huge proponent of that brand. And it was kind of partly on her recommendation and being a big proponent of that brand that we considered it. And so we're going to be carrying some Stillman and Burn stuff. So trying to diversify also a little bit for anybody who's, maybe dabbling in the fountain pen world, but maybe is kind of tangentially involved in more of the watercolor and art world. So thought it would be interesting.
Rocky's saying the banded apple reminds him of Robin Hood. Just imagine shooting an apple off a bandit's head. Use banded apple to write taunting notes to the sheriff of Nottingham. Guys going off in the chat.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I do like the name.
Yeah, the notebooks are pretty cool, I gotta say.
They're very fountain pen friendly.
And one of the cool things is they have a planner that is a pretty decent format. It's not a huge planner. It's only like it's like a half-year planner.
Yeah, because it's a weekly planner and has 26 weeks worth in it. But you write in your own dates, so it never expires, which is
that's nice.
Great.
Or if you plan in chunks. Like me, whenever I use a planner, I use it during a busy time, and then I kind of don't use it for a while. So I'll have a planner that I've only used like a couple of months out of it, and at the end of the year, I'm like, oh, well, that was, something. But this is kind of, I had some people comment that like they like the fact that they can write in the dates because they use planners in spurts.
Well, it's great for us because part of the reason we don't regularly stock planners, well, first of all, there's just way too many varieties for us to stock everything. But they literally have a shelf life. If we don't sell them all, then we have all these...
Yeah, they have an expiration date.
Exactly. But being able to write your own date in is pretty cool because they never go bad for anybody. For us or for you. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Are we talking about other stuff that is
whatever.
Coming
it's
in?
All fair game.
Okay. I feel like I need to pull up our newsletter and figure out. We got the Platinum 3776 Begonia.
Yeah, the
You didn't bring any home, did you?
I did not. I did not, but I have some pretty sweet pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Drew just brought me this idea this afternoon, and I thought this was really something exciting. Okay, so I'm taking all of these really awesome pictures, but for our bandwidth purposes and for the sake of viewing them on our website, I keep them pretty small. I keep them about 750 pixels wide, which is not huge. It's good enough for you to get a decent picture. But the original images that I'm shooting, they're in RAW format. They're huge files, and so I could get them as large basically as you would want. So Drew had the idea of taking some of these pictures and making them in full resolution to be desktop backgrounds. Either for your computer or maybe your phone or iPad or whatever the case may be.
Posters.
So
that's a good idea too, because
posters would be a possibility.
Access to printing and stuff, like to take some of our best.
Oh, through Zazzle.
Another reason to get your SmugMug account.
Yeah, you're not joking there.
Absolutely.
Actually, we've been brainstorming. We've been talking about doing swag for so long. Taking some of our photography and turning it into, fountain pen paraphernalia.
Yeah. Well, one thing I'm sensitive towards, if we're selling anything that has a manufacturer's brand on it, that gets a little dicey because, you get into trademark liability and things like that. So,
have my permission.
So it'll be all Edison stuff. No, if we were gonna making actual posters, it would be something we'd have to charge for. That gets really hairy. So, but since we do represent all of the brands that we carry, if it's just for promotional purposes, such as not charging, but providing free desktop backgrounds that you just go and download yourself, I don't think any manufacturer would have a problem with that. So we could basically take a lot of the pictures that I've already done. I just, export them into the resolution to fit whatever device you may happen to want to put it on. And you could just go and download it and put, really cool pictures of fountain pen stuff, high resolution fountain pen stuff on your favorite devices.
Yeah, completely free.
Yeah, we would do it for free. And it really wouldn't be that much work since I'm already taking these pictures. So to me, it was like, okay, it's not a lot of work. It would be of great benefit to the fountain pen community. It's free. You know, why not? Why not do this? So,
one comment that I'll add, if I'm not mistaken, keep this in mind though, there are some standard sizes for screensavers and for wallpapers, correct? Like you don't want to have a full raw photo that's like 5,000 by 3,000.
No. That's what I'm saying is like I would look to
1024 by 768.
No, I would do some research and I would do some research and come up with the resolutions of the specific devices. Like, you know, I know the iPad has a certain resolution.
Yeah,
I would export an iPad version. I would export an Android version. I'd export a, you know, whatever, iPhone version, you know, different resolutions and stuff so that you could choose
crop different ways,
kind of whatever you want. And that way the image would be fit, you know, because there's nothing worse than when you like take a desktop, you know, image and put it on your desktop and it's all stretched and, you know, looks weird or is all grainy looking.
Or you tile it weird or
Yeah. But we probably have to look at something like SmugMug, because if we were going to have like full high-res images on our website to download, it would kill us on bandwidth.
We're already getting killed.
We already get killed on bandwidth. It would kill us even more. So, you know, I'll have to research about how we can do that. But you know, Drew brought that up this afternoon. I was like, oh, that is such an awesome idea.
Yeah, why not?
So look for us to jump on that pretty soon, because that's something, you know, a very high ROI in terms of time for something like that.
Other new stuff. Today we just got in the Quavadas Habana in an A4 size. Just black.
Oh,
just
I did bring
blank.
that home.
Oh, okay. This is
big.
something that had previously been available only through the French catalog, but Exclair decided to start importing it this year. So just black, just blank. If you want other colors or rulings, they're like minimum quantities are like 25 or something.
Ta-da!
So it's kind of a lot. But if you've been looking for a good, you know, A4.
This is the previously
A5
large size Habana. So to give you an idea of the difference in size between the 6x9 and the full A4 size, it's pretty good size. Lays very flat. The cover is still sort of that semi-flexible, so it's nice if you're like, it's not like a true hardcover where you're like trying to fit it into like I've got a shoulder bag that I keep my laptop in. Well, sometimes I have like random pen cases and stuff in there, and if I have something really rigid and firm, it'll be really hard to fit it in there. But this thing you can kind of like bend up and fit around other things, so that's kind of neat. They're only in the blank size right now. I don't know if Exclair is going to import, you know, other rulings, but I mean that gives you a whole lot of surface area to work with. Just to give you a perspective, here is an Encore next to this A4 size, so quite big.
Real quick, someone in the chat suggested, go back to the pictures and stuff, to put different pen photos of on our bookmarks that we send out with orders. They could become collectibles. But we thought about doing like postcards and stuff too, and not just bookmarks. You know, different.
We are going to do postcards. Actually, I just ordered different types of cardstock for postcards. I want to see which performs the best with fountain pens. But basically,
what I was gonna say is the bookmarks. We just ordered a couple thousand more of our current bookmarks.
Yeah.
So once those run out, then maybe we could look at doing some other ones.
Switching them up.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, we just ordered and paid for what we have, so we have to use them all first. But
that is cool. That's a cool idea.
Yeah, because like people who order from us regularly are collecting our bookmarks, and some people are like, don't send me any more. I have way too many. Other people are like, can you send an extra? I want to give them to my friends.
See, if you have too many, you're supposed to give them away. That's the point.
But if I could see if we change up the design, yeah, they do become collectibles.
That is cool. Yeah,
kind of
like
we have a whole iteration
idea.
Of business cards. You can see like how we've evolved.
That's a good idea. Okay, I like that. Thank you. I think we'll do that.
So yeah, we're looking at postcards.
Mm-hmm.
And other
yeah, I think we
like
might with the postcards we might start to give those away.
We ordered a couple to test out because we want to make sure they're fountain pen friendly, obviously.
Yeah.
You never really know till you get to try it for yourself.
But I think with the postcards too, we're going to look to do some up, not like strictly Goulet Pen Company promotional postcards, but we're going to look to come up with fountain pen related, which Brian, we are probably going to feature a lot of Edison pens on these ones.
Darn.
But just
I don't know if I'm going to give permission for that.
Just really artistic, really well done images of fountain pen type stuff, ink, fountain pens, that kind of thing. Put them on some postcards. That way, if you're writing to other fountain pen enthusiasts, it could be something really cool. And we might put like our website down on the bottom or something. But I think we'll probably offer those for sale, like in packs or something like that. So that's something that we'll look to do,
people have been
too.
suggesting blotters for a long time. The reason we didn't before is they're actually very expensive. But you know what? We could look into them at least. Maybe we could look into them to sell them.
They're pretty expensive just to give away.
Right.
But we could definitely sell them. I mean, that's an option.
Especially if we design several designs and have like an assorted pack. Or,
yeah, I know Bender does that. I think he's got like a 4-pack or something like that for $5 or something maybe. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know he's got an assortment of them. Yeah, I mean, these are all these great ideas that like float around in our head, and we're like, oh yeah, we should do all these things, and then just like we run out of hours at the end of the day for most of this stuff. But
well, that's why we hired someone else who are going to get help with this sort of stuff.
Yes, exactly.
I've been, as our staff has been growing up, been able to get help with more of my duties and free myself up. But of course, the kids require more of my time, so we have so many ideas.
Yeah.
What else? What else is new? I just had our newsletter up and then it disappeared. Oh, here it is. Banded Apple, Begonia, Vanishing Points and Extra Fine. Talked about that. Field notes. Some of the coming soon stuff. Okay, I want to talk about the VAC 700s briefly because there's been a lot of different information floating around the web. Different blogs and retailers presenting different information. Here's the story, and this is directly from TWSBI to me, and I haven't heard differently, but they are supposed to be shipping out to retailers, I'm looking at the calendar, at the end of next week. So if they ship it out, it takes like 4 or 5 days to get to us. We should have them the first week of May. So we are looking at 2 weeks from now. Is that right? Did I get my dates right? I thought it was 2 weeks as of last week. Maybe I'm wrong. Shipping out by the 27th. Yeah. So we'll have it the first week of May. So VAC 700s in the colors, so the smoke, the amber, and the sapphire, will be here the first week of May. The quantities are going to be limited. Just letting you know right now.
They will sell out just about immediately.
Especially some colors more than others. Smoke tends to be the most popular. Extra fine and fine tend to go fast too. But, whatever you want to get, your preference. I'm not saying one's better than another. That's just what I tend to see. So you're looking first week of May, limited quantities. So sign up for our email notification list. We'll let you know ahead of time when they're expected to arrive because, we'll know once we get our shipping notice when they're supposed to come. So look for that first week of May in the 3 colors. The clear won't be available for probably sometime, I'd say mid-June or later. They told me when I last asked, like last week, it would be 2 months away. So we're looking June or so. No, we won't do like a midnight release or anything like that. We'll let you know ahead of time. I don't know if we'll do like a scheduled time. I don't know if it'll sell out that quickly.
I don't know if we're going to need enough quantity to justify a scheduled release.
No, not. But I think they will sell out within a day. At least some colors or sizes might sell out within a day or so.
This pen has been in the works for 2 years. I'm sure it's going to sell out immediately.
So the first batch will be limited. They'll be followed by subsequent batches, but the expectations set forth by TWSBI is that quantities for pretty much everything are going to be limited all year. It'll take them into 2013 to really ramp up their production to meet the demand. So, you've seen the 540s come in stock and then get out of stock, come in stock, get out of stock. And it's kind of like these every couple of weeks, there's a couple things coming in. Just want to set the expectation. It's going to be like that for a while. There's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing they can do about it. They're rushing the factory. They're trying to produce as much as they can. But when you're a small, startup company of sorts, it takes a while. It takes capital. There's a lot of finessing of the manufacturing process to get things up and running. So I just want to set the expectation. They're going to be limited. So if you have your heart set on one, go for it. If you're waiting to see reviews, that's cool too. But just know you could, miss a window and have to wait for the next one.
Yeah.
So the colored VAC 700 here, first week of May. Clear will be like June or so. We'll have more of the colored 540s, in that first week of May as well. The clear as well as the italic nib should be here, I'd say later in May. The VAC 700 will be available in extra fine, fine, medium, broad. Italics don't exist yet. The the manufacturer of the nibs had just started coming out with italics, or they're working on italics. So I would expect to see those sometime closer to the end of the year. That would be my guess. Someone asked if we're going to carry the micarta.
We will when they're available.
Yeah, the first release was only available through TWSBI.com. We're a little disappointed about that, but they just had limited quantities, and that's all they could do. Yeah. So that's all they could do. When they are produced in more regular quantities, we'll have them.
Yeah, we don't have any TA on those yet, though.
So
it's gonna be at least a couple months, probably. Yeah.
So that's the update on TWSBI. Because we get questions probably every day, someone asking about when TWSBI XYZ is coming in.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you posted. Keep checking our website. I try to put accurate dates on each product of when things are coming in. Noodler's Conrad Flex Pens. These have been in the works for a long time. We are expecting to get those possibly late next week. Worst case, it'll probably be first week in May.
Yeah.
Distributors expecting to ship those out probably next week or so. So we're very excited about those. They're supposed to be better than the Ahab. Supposed to be. We haven't tested them out for ourselves, but I've heard really good things, and we just received a sample of each so that we could take some pictures and get to know them ahead of time. They look really good. I'm told they start up well. They should write better out of the box than the Ahab. So we'll see for ourselves, but I'm very optimistic, and they look good. Other stuff, it's on the newsletter. That's like the important stuff that people ask us about all the time.
Yeah, it's getting late. We should try and wrap up.
I waited an hour and a half to get to this point.
That's all right. I'm about falling asleep here, so.
Yeah, I can tell.
I still gotta produce this whole video too.
All right, well, we'll wrap things up unless anyone has any other questions.
Yeah, thanks Brian for sticking with us this whole time too.
Check my email again. I'm not seeing any questions, so.
Okay.
If you guys have any questions in the meantime, just shoot us an email, tweet, Facebook, whatever. You know where to find us. Sadly we won't see you in right time for a while. We'll be back when we can.
Well, what we're gonna we mentioned this in the beginning of the broadcast like 2 hours ago, but we're gonna have to take a all but definite hiatus on right time for a while because we're gonna be personally moving our house, and so what we're gonna try to do is jump in and do some impromptu broadcasts during the day while we're at work, because it's actually much less obtrusive to our personal life to be able to do that. And I'm right in the studio. I've got a lot of things at my disposal right there. It kind of just helps to make some sense. So we may look to do more of that kind of stuff. We'll try and come up with some creative ideas, and I'm gonna really make an effort to produce more videos on a regular basis now that we're kind of settled in on the business side of things. So look for more of that stuff, and hopefully that'll help you get your fill. And then, of course, the newsletter, we're doing that every week. That's going to keep you up to date with all your information there, too. So that's about all I have. Brian, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, just thanks for having me on. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for helping us to come out with a pretty sweet pen.
Absolutely.
We're honored to be able to introduce so many new Edison features on one of our pens. It's really great, and I'm really happy with how they've all come together.
Absolutely.
And I'm we've been working with this pen for the last 6 months or so, but it's everybody else that's going to get these pens. It's really going to tell us how good a job we did designing these things. So I'm very eager for people to start getting them and giving us honest feedback about what they think of the pens.
I agree.
Yeah. So.
All right. Thanks for hanging with us and for bearing through all the chat issues. And for those of you who tried to join us and couldn't, really sorry about that. And, but thanks for bearing with us. Thanks for watching, or thanks for listening or watching the recording. And that's it.
Yeah, we'll keep you guys up to date with all the new changes that go on, and look to see more cool stuff coming from us. And let us know what you think of your Encores if you end up getting one. All right, thanks everybody. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, folks. Have a good night.
Have a good evening.